charity. That in the world of business, there are many people they know, unless they are known to give, once they've reached a certain level of a high income, and everybody in their business line, they all give something. Then there's a meeting, they say, well, everyone has to give. They also feel, well, if I don't give, I'll be ostracized. As a result, they give. And if they keep on giving for a few years, after a time, they enjoy giving. They don't like it. They learn to love to give. At the beginning, they hated it. It applies to all situations in life. It doesn't only apply to actually giving charity. It applies to all areas we have to give from ourselves instead of just taking for ourselves. And this is really the basic method that we call the mitzvot masiot. All the mitzvot masiot say that they give the tzarep and the chapriot. The purpose is to improve the character. How do you do it? By using materialistic methods, which brings ultimately to recognize the value of purifying the character. And this way, at every new level that a person reaches, according to the way in which he's really transformed things, then more spirituality is revealed. And as a result, he removes the contradiction between what he feels he ought to do and what he's actually doing. On the contrary, the evil that lies inside himself becomes corrected, because it becomes a means for him to rise to a higher level. Now, unless you use the level of Shelol Lishma, that was the Olam. The person should always do things Shelol Lishma, is quite ready to do things for ulterior motives. Even though there's a contradiction, you're supposed to be serving Hashem, and really you're serving yourself. Otherwise, the reason why you give the charity is because otherwise you lose in your business, because your business associate not to join you. But it's a very good thing. So in this matter, then we have to praise the society set up by some of the multi-billionaires. They ask others to join their club. There's one of them, his name is the richest man in America, in any case, who's got a club where people should give 95% of the income to charity. And to join that club has become quite a high status. If somehow or other they've managed to reach many billions, there's no reason why they should give 95% of it back to the people from whom they got it indirectly. I indirectly got it from them. And at least it conveys the concept of giving, the importance of giving. And let's say here in Israel today, we have to develop in a strong manner, because there's such a lot of poverty. We'll try to get even, let's say, get members of the government who have a high income. At the same time, they're making laws which unfortunately increase the ratio of poverty in the country. Then they should introduce giving a larger percentage to charities. As a result, they'll become better in their whole approach to society. We live in a society which is, unfortunately, influenced by capitalistic methods of exploitation. We have to work hard to remove it. So we have to learn to become givers. And even we do Shelo L'Shem Shamayim in order to be, once it becomes like an aspect of reaching social status, the one who can help others. This could be a means to raise him up to become a true giver. And the same applies in all areas of life. This is a deeper aspect of what the sages say, that if a person does teshuvah out of fear, then his previous intentional sins become unintentional. Because he recognizes the wrong that he's done, so it becomes retroactively unintentional. But the high level is the tshuva out of love, where the sins themselves become merits. How can sins become merits? Because a person is aware of the sins that he's committed, then it pushes him in the opposite direction. And now he clings to the mitzvahs, he clings to the good path as a result of his recognition of the depths to which he fell. And this is the way to put right the contradictions. So the following thought occurred to me. There's one of the greatest Baalei Chesed for Torah of our generation, is a Jew from Montreal called Herschel Friedman. It's got his name on quite a few buildings. It's a few buildings in Be'er Yeshiva, in many yeshivas. I've got to know him as well. I'm hoping he'll help us one day. I've spoken to him and his sons a few times. And this week, there's going to be an annual forum of managers, of Torah true managers, of businesses and of institutions, called Forum HaManalim. And he's going to be the chairman. And I read his speech that he's going to give. This was published in the magazine. So he describes there, how was he able to make business? Because he describes this autobiography in the business world. He started with selling plastics, because it was a neglected area. He took over some shop or something that wasn't working, and it was about collapsing, so he got it cheap, was able to pay for it. And then he transformed it into a whole business. So he became a great, he's got a monopoly of production of plastics in Canada. That's how he started. Then he went into real estate, and he bought over ruins. So he got them cheap. Ruins he got cheap. And he put money into them and made the ruins into profitable buildings. And they took over companies. It says his whole approach in life, business, was to take businesses and companies that are ruined, that are failing, but recognize it as a challenge. The fact that this shop or this business, this company is falling to pieces, so you've got to find what's the market and try and transform it into something that will fit the market. He says this is the advice he gives to people in business who want to make a success. Take something that's almost finished and collapsed, take hold of it and build it up. And he develops, he says this today when he's become a big investor in Israel. So also in Israel, it's taken over one company after the other, which was falling, which was more or less bankrupt. He took it over and he built it up. And it's doing well. Same time he gives all his profit more or less to different charities from which the Torah will especially benefit. But not only does he give for buildings, he gives for yeshivot and kollel. He's got this huge publication project known as Ozvada, which we all benefit from. They publish beautiful editions, Gemara, Tanakh, everything. Ozvada. So you've seen Friedman. Well, he uses his name, but that's what gives him more credit to do it. I'm sure he has to get a lot of reward. So I say, in fact, when I meet him, if I hope I have a chance to meet him, I'm going to tell him that should be our approach also. I mean, the idea of Torah is face the challenge of failure and transform the failure and understand it as an opportunity for growth. Failure is an opportunity for growth. That's what Chazal say. Tshuva me'ava transforms your failure and your sinfulness into growth. We've got a few examples. There's some people who do it in one go. When you do it in one go, you jump to the top. You take your failure, then you recognize how much you failed. And that gives you, like it said in one of the episodes, which we called a similar episode, of people, like it says about one of them, a Jew who became a traitor to the Jewish people and joined the Romans, even in persecuting Jews. But then said, for certain incident happened to him, it went into his heart, like a sharp poison, to recognize the evil that he'd done, and decided there and then, from now on, he's only going to serve Hashem. He's cutting himself off from all his treacherous deeds, and now wants to throw himself only for the service of Hashem. And then although the Romans and the others, they tortured him, unless he changes, unless he joins them, continues to join them, stay with them, but he refuses, I'm not joining you anymore, I'm not going to help you anymore. I recognize I have angered my God all my life. From now on, I'm only going to fulfill the will of Hashem, even if it means my death. And then he acquired his future life in one moment. He went to his death with great suffering, refusing to give in to the enemy. But there were examples like this in the concentration camps. It's also well known. People who didn't keep Torah at all. And they more or less, even some of them, they even went to a certain level to give in also to the Nazis. As you know, they made use of these Jews. And then when it came to having to, let's say, to go, they said, unless you go now and push more Jews into the gas chambers, then we're going to torture you, because they used the Judenrat and so on. They said, no, on no account, we're not doing it, we've done enough harm, we know we've done wrong, and we'll not give in. And they tortured them, but they refused to give up their attachment to Hashem, the people of Israel. So, but that's these extreme instances. But the concept that the way to reach a high level is to use failures, not to allow them to depress us, but instead use them as challenges to build on. And people look at it in that fashion, they can rise to the greatest heights. So my approach is going to be, that is what is needed today. We need to recognize if there are Jews who, as far as Hashem and the Torah is concerned, are failures. Most of them not really even their own fault. Some of them become criminals, some become evil. Others are decent people, but they're not interested in Jewish people.